Good morning. Thank you for joining River and I at the Breakfast Nook. This morning we're going to be reading A New Beginning, Celebrating the Spring Equinox by Wendy Pfeffer, illustrated by Bleck. Leaf buds uncurl on bare branches. Frogs leave their winter hideaways, hop to the nearest water and lay eggs. Crocus tips poke through the melting snow, woodchucks whistle, chickadees chirp, and the dragonflies emerge from rivers and ponds. The long nights of winter shorten, and with more hours of sunlight, the weather warms. In the northern half of the world, winter gives way to spring. Where we are, we don't have snow. We have different signs of spring. Birds are back. Bugs are starting to buzz around. What does spring look like where you are? Robins wing their way back north and animals give birth to their young. People prepare the fields and plant the crops in the softened earth. As a bright sun returns, people open their windows to welcome warm breezes and clear out winter dust. We pack away our bulky jackets and wear brightly colored clothes to match the fresh shades of spring. The days gradually grow longer and nights shorter until around March 21st, the day and night are equal. On this day, the earth is tilted so that the sun is directly over the equator. On this day is called the Spring Equinox, meaning equal night. Winter's over and spring begins. In many cultures' calendars, the spring equinox marks a new year, just as January 1st is the beginning of our calendar year. For thousands of years, in different places and in different ways, people have celebrated spring as a time of new beginnings when the land becomes alive again. So we are right here, right now. It says spring vernal equinox, when the day and night are equal. We were over here just before Christmas. We were at our winter solstice. That was the shortest day of the year. Day and night are equal. And then we're going to be moving in a couple months into summer for the summer solstice, for the longest day of the year. And after that, back to fall and the autumnal equinox, when day and night are equal again. Long ago, some say too long to be traced, the Chinese began celebrating the end of winter and the new beginning spring. Today, the second new moon after the winter solstice still marks Chinese New Year. Families clean out their homes to sweep away bad traces of bad luck. They buy fruit and flowers, hang red banners with good wishes written on them. Dancers wear paper lion masks to scare away evil spirits and bring good luck. Children receive money in red bags, since red means good luck too. On the 15th night, people parade with paper lanterns while fireworks fill the air. The children cheer as a long silk and paper dragon weaves its way down the street to the beat of a drum. The dragon's appearance is a way of wishing peace, fortune, and good luck to all during the coming year. Over 3,000 years ago, the people of ancient Prussia celebrated the spring equinox as a new beginning during Nowruz, which means New Year. Today, modern-day Iranians welcome spring just as the ancient Persians did. 10 days before Nowruz, they plant wheat or barley in a flat dish to represent new beginnings in the cycle of life. A few days later, colorfully danced troubadours announce the coming of the new year. On Nowruz, families stay home and wait for the exact time the spring equinox begins. Many exchange gifts, think good thoughts, do good deeds, and eat candied fruit to sweeten their lives. They believe that joy and happiness defeat bad spirits. Over 2,000 years ago, the people of India celebrated Holi at the beginning of spring to ensure good crops. In Hindu mythology, Holika was a demoness who burned in the fire. Now, during Holi, on the night before the full moon in March, the villagers light giant bonfires to represent the triumph of good over evil. The heat of the bonfire is a sign of the hot summer to come, and the villagers bury the ashes to grow better crops. The next morning, the mood changes from gloomy to jolly, and people of all ages toss multicolored powder with glitter over each other and load squirt toys with red-tinted water to spray on anyone passing by. They celebrate the coming of spring, singing and dancing with soaking wet rainbow-colored clothes. Many believe that it was the origin of April Fool's Day, when people play tricks on one another. Yeah, I wonder. About 1,200 years ago, the Mayan people in Mexico built many structures to map the cycles of the sun. Their existence centered on the sun and its effects on planting and harvesting. With their vast knowledge of astronomy, architecture, and mathematics, the Maya carefully planned and precisely built structures to predict the seasons. At Chinchen they built the El Castillo Pyramid. Here, people can still witness an amazing feat. Each year, on the day of the Spring Equinox, the afternoon sun makes a shadow that looks like the body of a snake, over 100 feet long, slithering down the pyramid. At sunset, the body joins a huge stone carving of a snake head located at the bottom of the pyramid, at the bottom of the staircase. Spring has arrived, plants can begin. Do you see it over here? So the shadow comes down and connects with the head of the snake. It's amazing. Maslenitsia, or Pancake Week in Russia, dates back over 1,000 years. This 7-day sun festival celebrates the returning light. It bid goodbye to the long winter and hello to spring. Families ate warm, round, golden pancakes that looked like the sun. The more butter they spread in each pancake, the hotter the sun was supposed to be during the coming summer. They enjoyed horse-drawn sleigh rides and a semicircle trail across the snow, symbolizing the sun's path across the sky. Today, families still celebrate outdoors. They dance, sing songs, jingle bells, enjoy hot tea, and of course, eat pancakes. At night, bonfires are lit. Brightly dressed straw scarecrows representing the Lady Maslenitsia are tossed into the fire. When Maslenitsia is over, spring begins. Not sure if I'm quite saying that name right. Almost 500 years ago, when the Cree Native Americans experienced long, hungry winters, berries, one of the first signs of spring, were an important sign of the warm season to come. They not only ate berries, but because bears feasted on them too, the Cree knew where to hunt bears. They honored the first berries of each year by placing them in a bowl, holding them high, and thanking the great spirits. The Jewish holiday of Passover celebrates a new beginning. Over 3,000 years ago, Hebrews were slaves in Egypt. After 400 years of slavery, they were finally freed. Each spring, on the first night of an 8-day holiday, families gather for a meal called a Seder. They eat special food, sing songs, and retell the story of how they became free. Each food on the Seder plate tells a different part of the story. The lamb bone symbolizes the lamb that was sacrificed in the ancient temple in Jerusalem. The spring of parsley dipped in salt water reminds Jews of the tears their people shed when they were slaves. The karoset, the paste of nuts, apples, and wine, reminds them of the clay that slaves used to make bricks. The bitter herbs recall the bitterness of slavery. Matzah, the flatbread, reminds them that there was no time for bread to rise before the slaves fled Egypt. An egg symbolizes the new life that begins each spring. Each year on the day of the spring equinox, ancient Saxons in Germany celebrated a festival for the goddess of springtime named Esther. Her earthly symbol was a rabbit. Rabbit and eggs were symbols of rebirth. Many Anglo-Saxons in England dye eggs by boiling them in flower petals and leaves. Brightly colored eggs represent the bright sun of springtime. At the same time that pagans were celebrating their goddess of springtime, Easter, Christians observed Jesus' new beginning when they believed that he raised from the dead. As more people became Christians, the name of their celebration changed from Easter to Easter. On the first Sunday after the full moon of the spring equinox, Christians celebrate Easter. Many worship outdoors as early spring activities or in churches filled with flowers and glorious music. Children find Easter baskets filled with chocolate rabbits and colorful eggs, still symbols of Easter. Interesting. So many things we do in our cultures, different cultures. Makes me wonder where they all come from. Makes me want to research more. Today, families of all kinds still celebrate spring as a time of new beginnings. They plant flowers and vegetables, play baseball, ride bikes, fly kites, have picnics, and enjoy the return of warm days and welcome spring, a new beginning. These are some other activities. Talks more about the different seasons. How to make some paper lanterns, grow wheat for Nowruz. Smashed potato Easter eggs, and how to make that nut paste. Make a kite. What a fun book. What will you do to help celebrate the coming of spring?